Hey there, so in my last video I let you know that I have developed gestational diabetes with this pregnancy, and today I'm going to talk to you about what that even means. So to put it really basically, gestational diabetes is when a woman who hasn't had diabetes before develops high blood sugar levels during pregnancy. The great thing about gestational diabetes is that most women, once they deliver the baby, don't have gestational diabetes anymore. They don't need to worry about it. Well, you might need to worry about it because it might come up in subsequent pregnancies, and it also puts you at higher risk for developing diabetes later in life. But I'm really hoping that I'm like most women and the diabetes goes away after delivery. So what causes gestational diabetes? Truth is, they're not completely sure, and by they I mean doctors and researchers and whomever looks into that. But they have some rough ideas. They think you're more prone to get gestational diabetes if you have a family history of diabetes. But the big thing that they think plays a role into it is the placenta. Basically, the placenta gives off hormones that is very beneficial to help the baby grow. But at the same time, it limits my insulin production. So basically, I'm not producing enough and my body's not using it well enough. So I have a whole bunch of glucose just going through my bloodstream. The biggest thing to know with gestational diabetes is it is not your fault. I didn't realize it at first because I didn't really look into gestational diabetes. So it kind of shocked me when I got the phone call and they let me know. Basically, how they figure out you have gestational diabetes is they have you go in later in your pregnancy, drink a really sugary drink. They make you wait an hour and then they draw your blood, look at your blood sugar levels. If it's generally, I think the cutoff's around 130, 140. If you're under that, they say you're fine. If it's a little above that, they send you for a 3-hour glucose check to really be sure if you have it or not. My numbers were so outrageously high that they said, yeah, don't even bother going in for the 3-hour test. You need to call this number and set up a meeting with a diabetes specialist and a nutritionist. And that's basically what they told me. And I started crying because I thought, I didn't understand what gestational diabetes was, so I thought, oh my gosh, what have I done? I thought I'd eat, have I really eaten that much? Did I cause this? Am I causing something really bad to happen to my child? And I felt terrible, and I was just crying, but, I was really happy that the first thing they told me when I went into the diabetes specialist is, it is not your fault. You don't have really any control. You can control the rest of how it goes by managing your diet and exercise and maybe some oral medication or insulin injections, but it's not your fault. So the big question with gestational diabetes is, what does this mean for my baby? The big concern is having a baby that's just really big, because basically I've got all this extra glucose in my system that I can't get rid of. It's getting across to the baby. So my daughter's pancreas is going and making a whole bunch of insulin, but it doesn't really have need for that much glucose, so it's storing it all as fat, is what the concern would be. Luckily for me, they've been doing a lot of growth scans. You go in there a lot to your obstetrician and get observed a lot, twice a week for us when it's considered high risk, which it is because of gestational diabetes. But like I said, we've been really blessed and lucky that my daughter's not getting too big. She's actually right on track with all the other babies. So, it could still change, but right now it's looking like she's just a normal sized baby. The problem that goes along with being too big of a baby is if you're trying to fit through the birth canal as a baby and you're pretty big, it can damage the shoulders. The other concern is that the baby's pancreas has been producing all this extra insulin to try to help regulate it. But when the baby's delivered, she's not going to be getting all that extra glucose from my body, so her insulin levels are really high, but she doesn't have all that extra glucose, so it can cause her blood sugar levels to be pretty low. That's another concern. There are others, but those are the main ones. Okay, so I was planning on just making one gestational diabetes video, but I've realized since that there is a lot to talk about. So I'm going to leave this video with you as part 1. See you next time.